Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the last workshop of this AHA Paina. Yay! It is the exciting topic of the fiscal year ending 2022 budget. So I hope you have your popcorn and kakimochi ready as Rhoda takes us to this wonderful, exciting document. And then we ask for your indulgence. Rhoda has been treasurer since October. And then in April, we lost our controller. And so we're kind of in an interim period. So Rhoda has been trying as best as she can to keep up with our financial reports. And so we turn it over to Rhoda.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve you as a treasurer. All right, so this is the 2021 budget versus our actual expenditures. This line here, the blue line, represents our 2021 budget fiscal, and then the bottom is the expenses that we spend for the fiscal. So as you can see, from July to December and February, March, we were spending less than we budgeted. And in January, we kind of spend a little bit higher than what we budget. So overall, we're actually spending less. We go to the next one, which is the revenue. So again, the blue line represents the budget, and then the orange line represents the actual revenues. So in December 2020, January and March, we were actually above our revenue, which is good. And then from July to October and in February, we were below the revenue. This right here just shows you the actual amount in numbers. So this column shows you the budgeted amount from July to June. And this is the actual, as of now, we have until March of 2021. So in expenses, like I said earlier, we are actually spending less than what we budgeted. And here is the revenue. And from July to March, we actually had about 1.1 revenues versus what we budgeted was 1.3. Okay, this pie graph just show you the non-investment revenue in percent of the total revenue. So here, this blue here represent the percentage of transfer from the foundation, which is 39% of their revenue, and then 29% grants and 24% from the contribution of other churches. And here is a 4% from individual contributions, and then the rest is from events and other services fees. Here just shows you a bar graph from 2016 to current of March 2021. As you can see, 2016 was 217, and then 2017 went to higher to 82,000 for 25. And then in this fiscal year, we had only $189,774 for the OCWM. Okay. So this is our statement of financials as of March 2021, which also compare the previous year, the March 2020. As you can see here from the investment, it is very high due to the market value unit price. It's really at the highest, so that is indeed awesome. And that on the financial. And for, as we go down, And the accounts payable portion, you kind of see it a little bit higher. This is due to the custodial fund. We are slowly dispersing that custodial fund to the various churches that benefit from that fund. And to the year to date, right here, the 566,950E. This is an excess of revenue over expenditures. 264,469 came actually from unrealized gains. And then the 302,489 is from revenue. This is due also because of the forgiven of the PPP loan of $137,900. Okay. Right, so that is our year. Let me go ahead and switch to the budget portion. So this is the budget for the coming fiscal year 2022. As you can see, the 2021 budget versus the 2022 is kind of similar, but there is just few changes, increases and decreases in there. I'll just go ahead and point some of the account in there that I think is important. If you look at the revenue area where events and program are, there is a decrease of 39,000 in the budget for next fiscal year, which is, this is because due to the planning of the AHA, we're planning to do only one AHA and one church leadership event. And if you look at the Friends of the Conference, we kind of increased the budget to 5,000. As you can see in the actual of 2021, we already have about 40,000. So we're in looking forward that we will go beyond our budgeted of 35,000. So overall, the revenue, there was a decrease of $42,628. Okay, now let's go to the administration team and the expenses side. If you look at the general and administrative account, there was an increase of 19,300 on the budget because there was an increase on the audit fees. And also the conference need a new software. So ID program is necessary for the conference to function properly under system. So that's why we had to increase that budget. Mission and coordination. There is a decrease of 36,200. This because there is no general signage and then only one AHA that we're planning. Okay, and the portion area for the account administrative staff salaries and benefits, there is a decrease of 146,500. This is due to, we're thinking of doing 2 part-time ACM, but again, depending on those applications, we might, we'll see from there on. And also in here, the control, we are indeed also looking for a controller position. So that is also inclusive in that budget. And the staff and the conference, there was no increase for the fiscal year. Okay, conference, ministry, and NCM searches. This is a new on the budget because we are indeed searching for ECM. This budget includes the travel expenses, the moving expenses. So depending on the hire, when the time comes, the moving expense may be lower. So this budget may come down a little bit lower. Okay. Next is another new on the budget, which is the capital campaign feasible study. We budgeted about 30,000. So I believe we're working on 2 companies to provide proposal on the capital campaign, and that is indeed, I believe, is being reviewed. All right, as for the stewardship team, formation team, and justice team, there's no significant changes under budgets. Stewardship just kind of increased their budget and overall $15. And then the formation has an increase about 2.2% under budget, which is 1,315 in overall. And then justice and witness, they reduced their budget for the next fiscal year about 7%, so about that's $1,325. Next, we have a new, again, budget, which is the innovation and engagement team. This is a new expense, and this, I believe, will be the new hard ACM. They will be the one putting those expenses together. At this time, we just kind of budgeted on some of that was for reading materials and travel expenses. So if you look at the budget, overall, we have a deficit of $5,380. But keep in mind that, again, the Friends of the Conference are doing good as of this year. So we're hoping that, on next year fiscal year, that will go beyond our budget. And also, depending on the hire of the ECM, we might be saving on the moving expenses. Okay, thank you everyone for this time. And if you have any question, we'll go ahead and attend to that question.
Okay, we have a couple of questions in the Q&A. The first one is, where in the budget, they're referring to the Ahamakua Handbook, page B6, does the $19,000 contribution from the Oahu Association show up? Also, are there contributions to the conference budget from the 4 other associations as well?
Rhoda, I can take care of that one.
Oh yeah. Okay, go ahead, Laurie. I just saw that in the.
Yeah. Okay. If you're looking at the budget on B6, line item 8, service fees, health plan and administrative, the 19,000 of that comes from the Oahu Association, which is a donation to the conference for administrative support. The second part to the question, no, Oahu is the only association that makes a contribution to the conference for administrative support. And we appreciate that.
Okay, we have a question from chat. What is the Cohen Fund?
Andy, I think you might be best to take that question.
Yeah, the Cohen Fund is a trust fund. Actually, the Cohen Trust is a trust. The foundation serves as trustee for the beneficiary of the trust is the Hawaii Conference, and there's land and liquid assets in the trust, And then there is a fund, the income out of that fund goes to the Cohen Fund to fund conference needs. So there is a process because it's a formal trust relationship. The Hawaii Conference actually applied for funding from the Cohen Fund, from the Cohen Trust, and for various mission purposes. And that was reviewed by the trustees and awarded. And so you see that in the budget.
A question about staffing. Is it anticipated that conference staff will need to take furlough days under the proposed 2021-22 budget? Did I hear correctly that there are no staff raises or COLAs in the coming year?
Laurie, do you want to take that?
Sure. That was for this current fiscal year. There were no staff raises this current fiscal year, and there were 5 furlough days. Next fiscal year, it is anticipated we'd be in a better financial situation. So there will be a 2% increase across the board for the staff. Thank you for asking.
And no furlough days. Those work days have been restored.
Question is asking, can you go back to the Micronesian ministry budget? The scroll was fast.
$3,250 is the budget amount.
Please define the Friends of the Conference in case people don't know what that refers to.
I'll take that question, Rhoda. The Friends of the Conference is a giving opportunity if you're on the receiving end of the request, or it's a request opportunity. It is a stream of support for the conference by individuals who are friends of the conference, either residing here in Hawaii or previously had resided or had connections with the Hawaii Conference. The Friends of the Conference, most conferences have this avenue of income, if you would. When I arrived, the first year was $20,000. And so we made this a goal to be better at being transparent in what we're asking for and how it's being used. And so that constitutes the Friends of the Conference.
With the OCWM gradually declining, what happened? Well, what happened? Was it because of the pandemic? Are we hopeful to raise to the 240,000 to meet the budget? It looks like we'll be 50,000 short otherwise.
Anybody wants to join in, feel free, but I'll start off with this one. It is assumed that the particular shortfall in OCWM we saw this year was indeed due to the pandemic. We know that a number of churches, their major income, right, is still through the plate offering. And so without the ability to gather and pass a plate, they did not see the expected income that they would have budgeted for themselves. And so we are anticipating, with our churches being to regather for in-person worship, that we will see that revenue stream increase this year.
Question, what is J&W events?
Lori, that question's probably for you.
Yeah, I was looking to see if Linda was on. Those would be justice and witness events. If they were to plan, it's a budget for them to plan events, activities, learning opportunities. So it's not defined because they haven't come up with a plan yet.
What are the reconciliation committee monies used for?
This is money to support the Reconciliation Committee. That is a committee that was pulled together during the period of interim ministry with Gabrielle Chavez. Am I saying the correct last name there? My apologies. My mind just went blank for a moment. Normally, this committee meets face to face. And so it'd be for travel purposes and things of that nature. This past year to the pandemic, it met mostly online. And so the budget was not as utilized as the previous year.
At this point, we're not seeing other open questions. So it's time to ask if you want.
Just quickly, let me remind people, we're seeing several requests to scroll around the budget. You can find this information in the MACUA handbook in full, and that may be more easily read than what you can on a computer screen. But we don't mind scrolling around, but that way you have that in front of you to look at what you need to look at.
There is a request to see the year after year graphic on OCWM giving.
I think it's worth noting on this particular graphic that the FY21 column is for 9 months rather than 12 months.
Is there a possibility of decreasing budgets from groups with less activity?
Am I on? Yeah, thank you. Yes, there is. I mean, the reality is that any monies not spent remain in the budget, right, through the end of the year. Our goal is to be able to provide enough money for our missional teams to take on what they feel they can do in a year's time with the financial support behind that. We also have a pledge that if a mission team was to spend through its budget, for example, that new mission team, right, innovation and engagement, we really don't know what the cost of that will be. And so they will always have the right to come back to the council and say, here's what we are proposing. It's beyond the budget that as it now is, and then request of the council further funding if that's available.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. We can all go home and eat dinner early. Yay! Thank you. Thank you, Rhoda, for the presentation. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email us. And with that, friends, we will see you tomorrow at the AHA MACUA, bright and early, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Aloha.